Hi. Thanks for stopping by the Marita Minutes. To all that are new here, welcome. To all of my new subscribers, thank you for joining me on my journey. Tonight I want to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac, season 9. This is the reunion, part 1. And we ain't going to be here long. I'm not going to take too much of your time. But let's get into it right after this. Hi. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Um, so, it comes on with the ladies congregating, they're getting dressed, they're in their dressing rooms, and it looks like they noticed that Karen doesn't have a dressing room. So they're like, Karen's not here. And it looks like Wendy tries to call her from her cell phone, but Karen doesn't pick up. So they all get dressed. They all come out one at a time in their beautiful dresses. And they all sit around. And I think Andy starts the conversation with, has anybody talked to Karen? Because the elephant in the room is everybody knows that Karen's not in her seat. Giselle's sitting first seat and Mia's on the other side. So he basically tells them that the reason why Karen isn't there is because she has enrolled herself into a rehabilitation center. So they talk about, her doing that, and they're all happy that she took that step. Giselle basically says, well, I'm glad she did it. I wish she had not waited till now to do it. And went in much sooner because it may have had an impact on the verdict that just came down a few weeks ago. And then Wendy pipes up and basically says the same thing. Like, it kind of gives like she's enrolling herself in this rehabilitation center. Her strategic plan is so that maybe her sentencing won't be that heavy. So, and I'm sure anybody would do the same thing. And I think they all basically said they would all do the same thing if it were them in this situation, that whatever that would reduce, whatever I needed to do to reduce my sentence or to get rid of it altogether, I would do. So it's no mystery as to why Karen is doing this. However, I agree with Giselle. She should have went way before she even went to court to get the verdict. Because I'm not understanding, because she knew about the traffic, I mean the body cams. She knew about that footage. And they wanted to suppress it, but they didn't win that battle at the court. So of course the jury got to see that. Now, unless they didn't know that the jury was going to see it, or maybe they thought they were going to win by suppressing the footage, I think that maybe that did her in. Maybe that did her in, because I can't imagine her going forward with the jury knowing that that footage was out there. That's what they were going to make their determination on. Ashley and her shady self, she said she kind of figured or thought that Karen wouldn't be there, so she brought a picture of Karen and sat it in between her and Giselle. Anyway, so before I don't know if the ladies see this footage, but they show her before, I think, um the reunion actually starts. And obviously, in this video, she must be going through whatever. I think maybe the footage may have hit the internet. So she's embarrassed. And she's basically talking to, I guess, production and telling them that the only thing she's concerned about are her children. Her children were embarrassed. Um, and she just wants to make sure that her family is okay. Um, they asked her in the video, did she have a problem with alcohol? And she told them no. She told them no. Okay. That lets me know that you are still in denial and that you don't want to still own up to your stuff. Karen still doesn't want to own up to her stuff. There she is looking disheveled in a video, not looking her best, and she's still talking about she don't have a problem. Okay, yeah, you don't have a problem. Then they come back later with a video to the ladies. And then this time she's got her off the shoulder dress, makeup done, beat by the gods, and then her hair is nicely placed on her head and it's not back here. Anyway, I digress. Sorry. But she leaves him a message saying, I mean, as you already noticed, I'm not there. I'm going away, to a treatment center to address her taking antidepressants and drinking. So she was pill popping and drinking. Okay. She said, but I would be remiss if I didn't take time to thank those who truly touched my heart during this whole process. So those that coddled her is who she addressed, all except for Wendy. And Wendy says she reached out to her, but she didn't address Wendy in that video. Clear sign that this incident still has not humbled her. Knowing whatever she said about Wendy, well, however she feels about Wendy, maybe that's how she feels about Wendy, but she was like adamant about saying, no, she didn't say anything about her. But my whole thing is this: if Wendy reached out to you, you could have acknowledged it. Thank you for everyone that reached out. The fact that she named everybody individually is shade. She could have just said, thanks to everybody that reached out to me. You know who you are, and I appreciate the support. That's all she had to say. But she was still being shady on the video. Then had the nerve to tell them to keep her seat clear because she'll be back. Maybe if you don't go to Sing Sing, as you said to Giselle back in 3 seasons ago. Maybe if you're not in the clinker or on the house arrest or something, I feel like she's going to get something, whether it's 30 days. She's going to get something. Anyway, I didn't like that. I thought it was shady, and I felt sorry for Wendy because Wendy was all. I don't know. I just hope she don't go like that with Giselle. But Giselle basically told her, um, "I've been trying to tell you about Karen," and Wendy's like, "Well, I didn't believe you. I didn't trust your ass." But Wendy kind of like basically says that she did. She said she reached out to Karen. But she said she can really truly say for right now, because I guess she didn't address her, that that's not my friend. Even after she the one took her to the White House with her, shared that experience with her, Karen's rotten. So in the video, Karen talked about that when she does come back to the show, she's not coming back as the Grand Dame. She's going to be Karen Huger because that is enough. So Andy then looks at Wendy and says, how's Happy Eddie doing? How's that business going? And she said, it's booming, And he says, this season, you seem a little light, little lighter this year. You're getting along with everybody. She said, you and Giselle have kind of like come together. She said, you have a new bestie. I think that's what they said. And then she was like, who is my bestie? She was like, they was like Giselle. And I was like, she was like, yeah, okay. So, she said, yeah, she said her and Giselle had a nice conversation. It was a 2-hour conversation. And she said, and they just went line by line, like what I guess aggravated about one another to each other. And she says, and they came to a happy medium. And they made a pact that if something were to come up or something they didn't like, that they would address it right then and there. They wouldn't fester and sit on it. Giselle basically says, did Stacy tell you about how she was coming out with a happy Eddie? And Wendy said, no. She said, I hope she tell me before she come out with it. And Stacy's sitting there. She's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Giselle. I have no idea what you're talking about. She was like, aren't you doing like a happy Eddie or whatever? And or I guess business like similar to Wendy's model, and her thing was, I don't know what you're talking about. She's acting like Giselle is just pulling this out of left field, like there's no truth to this. So then Giselle tells Wendy, don't be shocked if you look around and then you finally see a happy Stacy. And so Andy goes in on Wendy. He said, well, didn't you do the same thing to Karen? She was like, no, Karen did the same thing to me. She said, I had my candle first. Remember, Wendy had the one wick, and I guess Karen was acting like she was going up one better and gave her candle had three wicks. Um, she also seems to think she's lighter because she walked away from her job as a professor. And they basically said, well, how are you going to be such a stippling for your kids' education and making them a requirement to get a master's degree if you are not even putting your 4 master's degrees or 3, I don't know how many she has, to use. She said, how are you going to do that? She said, well, in their trust, and she kind of explains it, which is a good idea, actually. And most children should have this incentive. I said that, well, I'm not going to get into what I said I would do for mine, but she basically said that there are different things within their trust that they should get to strive for anyway, and they get extra coin on top of what they would be getting. And so I think the one is at least getting a master's degree. The second one was her daughter joining a sorority or the same sorority as her that would give her extra coin. And it was a third one. Oh, learning their native language, Ibu, Ubu, or Ibu. And if they learn that, then they also get some extra coin. So then they talked about how she took Karen to the White House. And she said, yeah, and I'm regretting that now. And I knew she would. But at the time, she thought her and Karen were cool. She said she did it as a favor. She said because Karen invited her to Siri while she got the key to the city or whatever she got. So it was really just a return favor, even though the White House is big. If you get invited to the White House or you can go to the White House and have a meeting, that's big. So KK pops up. She said, I don't see Karen like you all see Karen. She said, when I was going through my thing last year, she took it upon herself to help me through whatever I was going through in the emergency room. I've talked to her. I guess they talk or whatever. And they have a good relationship because she's kind of stepped in there like a mother type figure. And so Wendy said, KK, I love you, girl. She said, but I'm just going to put this out here and be honest with you. Karen likes to foster those mother goose type relationships. And then as soon as you show her that you can exist on this show without her existence, she will turn on you. So the next on the set is Jazzy. Jazzy comes out there, and right away, Andy basically says to her, like, "Where's Darius, and what team is he on?" And she basically said he landed with the Dallas Cowboys. She said, "Right now we're in Maryland because it's our off season." Andy reads a question from one of the viewers, and basically, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember how she said it, but her name was Megan. And she says she sees Jazzy as a side chick because it seems like she said something about Jazzy making the girl leave or making him leave his family to come with her or whatever. But there was a segment on the show at some point where Jazzy was trying to explain the situation, but she made it seem like they were dating. And while they were dating, he had a baby with this other girl. Like she was in a relationship, I guess, but he was in a relationship with other people, but she was, you know, loyal to him. That's what it sounded like. But when she found out that the baby was here, I mean, I guess what could she say? I mean, she ain't going nowhere. She's still planning a wedding. She brought her invitations to the set, and evidently they were really nice. There was like a trifold, and there was a mirror inside with their, I guess, their invitation information on there. So Jazzy basically, in response to Megan, basically she wasn't no side chick. She don't even give off side chick vibe. She's never been a side chick. And the woman that he had the baby by, they weren't together. And she even said that they weren't together. But he's got more than one baby by her. He has like I think 2 kids with this lady. And some blogger pulled him up, and just last Christmas, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before that, they were in pictures together with matching pajamas. Who does that with somebody they're not with? Jazzy, you got some explaining to do, honey. So then Andy takes this opportunity to segue into GNA, and she said, Jazzy, you had given GNA a whole nother name, no whole nother meaning. Gangsters and alcohol. And they laughed. And so it's a perfect segue into Giselle and Ashley. And basically, what was once considered sports leisure wear, they've turned their brand into more like a health and wellness type of affair. And then they also showcase Ashley. They show her meeting Josh, the guy that she's dating, I guess now, and how she met him. She met him on a speed dating thing without her and Giselle. And they also show her in her home with her family talking about her divorce. Now, basically, Andy said, well, you know what I'm getting ready to ask you, because all that was like a little montage. So when they get back to the set, Andy said, well, you know what I'm going to ask you. She was like, what, something about Josh? Girl, you know he ain't asking you nothing about no daggone Josh. Anyway, so he was like, what I've been asking you for the last couple seasons. So she was like, her and Michael have both signed what they needed to sign. She has waived her right to any alimony. However, she will be receiving child support. And that's when Andy looked over at Stacy and said, you're still doing in the last throes of your divorce too, aren't you? And she said, yeah. And she said, and you are still waiving your child support and getting alimony? She said, yep. So then they turned to Mia. I guess they said they want to talk about the Miami incident. And so supposedly, I guess Mia went to Miami to celebrate her birthday. And this again happened off camera, so I don't know everything. I was just listening to the conversation. So, but supposedly, um, she invited Jazzy and Stacy, but ghosted them. And she tried to come on the set and act like she didn't know they were coming. She didn't know they were there. All this stuff. Until Stacy pulled up the receipt saying, I talked to you. I told you I was coming. I told you when I was there. And each and every time she was responding. So evidently she was having a birthday dinner, I think, or they were having a cruise, a little excursion on a boat as well. So I want to say Stacy said she wasn't going on the boat, but she would come to the dinner. And I think the dinner was supposed to start at 8 o'clock or whatever. Mia didn't get there till 9:30. And Stacy and Jazzy had left because she said they arrived at their dinner party at 8 o'clock and nobody was there. Not even Mia. She said, well, to my defense, it was my birthday. But you invited these two people for them to hang out with you, to have your back, and you ghosted them and didn't invite none of the other ladies. The other ladies didn't get invitations. She only had invited Jazzy and Stacy. And of course, I'm sure Jacqueline was there because she's her and Jacqueline are stuck at the hip. So then Mia starts crying, saying with everything that's going on in her life, she just, she's slacking. And then of course she had to apologize. And she realized she wasn't being a good friend. So off camera, they show her going back to Stacy's room. Jazzy is in there and she, apologizes to the ladies once more. And her thing was, I don't know if I'm ready to accept it. She said, because I think, and this is Stacy talking to her, she said, I think the only reason why you're crying is because we called you out on your stuff. I agree. Everything is going on like what? And she said, everybody goes through stuff. That's what Judge said. Everybody goes through stuff every day. And then that's what Mia said, well, everybody's not the same. Everybody deals with things differently. And they do. So 100% true. Mm-hmm. But you were given homework on this stuff way before last night. So just saying. Need to manage your time better. So then they go into talking about Giselle's tribute, I guess, or it was right after her father passed away. And I think they did a tribute to her dad. And this fundraiser that she was having was to go towards what he passed away from. Something with cancer of the brain or whatever. I can't remember exactly the name or the technical term. Oh, so Mia says, well, thank you for listening. And she's crying. She said, I'm going to be all right. And then she starts bawling really hard when she's behind closed doors in her dressing room. I guess she don't think nobody can hear. But yeah, that's how it went on. That's exactly how it went on. What you think? What you think about part one? I don't know. I don't know what I think about part one. It didn't seem too thrilling to me, but hopefully part two will be better. Before you leave the building, please like, share, and subscribe. If you hit the like button, that's a free way to support my channel. And with that being said, everyone be blessed. Peace.